All right, so in keeping with our fiddling with variables and trying to figure some stuff out, I have here a blank processing sketch, which includes, well, almost blank. What's this first line doing? Okay, so there's a float that's being created, right? So that's a decimal number, mal. I called it mal because it's short for decimal. And I'm setting it equal to 0. What are other things I could set it equal to start with? Yeah, we could set it equal to pi. If you want to get it pi for some reason, it's capital P, capital I. I could set it to a rounding of pi, like the one that you guys all know and love. It's whining. You guys see what the computer program's whining about? What's the compiler complaining about? Yeah, it's like, dude, you made this thing and then you never used it. What are you doing? It should be noted that that's actually a pretty convenient error. I really like that this program has that error in it because it reminds you, like, hey man, you intended to do this and you're not. Like, go back and figure it out or remove that line. If you want that line to go away, like if I'm not going to use the variable, let's see, it's whining at word right now. If I'm not going to use the variable word for a while and I just want that error to go away, yeah, comment that line out, uncomment it when you need it. Please note there's a batch comment. So if you grab everything here and then hit Control/, it'll comment it all out. If you forget Control/, it's up here in one of these menus. There's down here, comment, uncomment. There's also an increase and decrease in indent, which is convenient to have. But Control/ will uncomment. If you use that with something that's already commented, it will double comment it. And then when you go back, it will still be a comment, right? Which is actually pretty convenient. So don't be afraid to use the batch comment on comments. It's fine. Okay, let's see. What other variable types did I have? Okay, there was integer. So I'm going to make an integer called... I'm going to call him Steve. You can name your variables basically whatever you want. I'm going to set Steve equal to 7. Please note, there are some things you cannot name variables. For instance, do not try to name an integer float. It won't work. Can you name it what?
Boat.
Yes, you can name it boat or bore. You can't name it width.
Because that was used.
You can't name it int.
Hilariously, it's not actually really that complaining about this. We'll have to play with that and see what it does. I think in earlier versions of processing that would really have yelled at me. Yeah, you can't name it int. You'll note this is the error I was looking for. Color and int are reserved words and can't be used as variable names. There are a whole bunch of reserved words. If you run across one, just pick a different thing. Whatever you do, please don't just like capitalize a random letter, including the first one, in the thing you're trying to use. So like, don't make a variable called capital int. It will let you do this all day long. It won't cause problems with the code. What it will cause problems with is my brain when I try to read your code. Please note, if you make unreadable code, I will have to take points away because I cannot understand what it's doing.
So I should call my floats capitalized ints, right? Capitalized.
Yeah, please, dear God, don't do that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Steve. Okay, I want to practice with some of this stuff, so I'm going to show you 2 commands to get variables out onto the screen that we're going to use all the time. The first one is the obvious print. Okay, can anyone give me a ballpark guess as to what this piece of code, when run, is going to do?
It's gonna make Steve go on the screen. It's gonna print 7.
Yeah, 7's going to print somewhere, right? What else is this thing going to do? Because processing always does one thing. What do you mean it's not going to do anything? It's running in static mode. It'll run. So this is going to run just like the setup mode, for those of you who know about the 2 modes.
So it's not gonna. It doesn't know where to print it or what size.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that I probably should be telling this that's missing, but my claim is this is the way the print command works. My claim is I don't need to specify any of that stuff because it's not going to put it in the box. It's going to put it in the compiler. So if I hit go on this, it's going to make that little window, right? The default. How big is the default window? Small. Good answer. It's 100 by 100, and it's. Remember, I got surprised by this the first day? It's gray. So if I run this, I'm going to get a small gray window. And, can we see it? 7.
Oh.
So it's in the compiler, right? It's not in the window. If you want to put it in the window, you want the command text. Uh-oh. Text expects parameters like int, comma, float, comma, float. Oh, crud.
Oh, where it's supposed to go.
Ruh-roh. Yeah, probably it has some kind of where it's supposed to be, right? So when you're not sure about a command, go to the API, check out that command. Let's see. Okay, so it takes, you guys see this? It takes a thing and then a place. And then there's actually a size that you can declare up above. You guys probably, can you see that? Is that too small?
It's weird that it calls it thing int on the error message, but it's really just.
Yeah, on the error message it's saying it's an int, but it's really expecting kind of whatever there.
Yeah, it's weird.
It just wants you to be sure to put in the coordinates. So, you all probably can't see this at all, but there's an extremely small white 7.
Why is it white? It should be black.
The default text color is white. If you want to change the text color, how would you do that? Yeah, I would try text color first. I think fill is the one you want.
Oh yeah.
So I want to make it, say, black. Did I just make it black?
That's fine.
No, that's white. Dummy. Okay, and let's make it bigger. What was the command it was using for
Text
bigger?
size.
Text size with a capital S. And what's a reasonable text size?
200. Yeah. Well, it's not gonna fit in there.
Yeah, it's not going to fit on the window, so I'm going to make 20. Whatever. Cowards. Okay, fine.
Actually, it might.
It might.
It won't.
No.
It's kind of looking 7.
Yeah, so there's a funny thing about where the like you all could figure out what mode that's in. Is it which corner of that text box is being placed at the point 30, 30?
So does it affect the? So I'm looking at the float mount. If you made float mount actually like hide PI, does it actually just display PI, or would it display its numerical equivalent still here?
Okay, let's check. Let's see. So I'm gonna make some executive changes. I'm gonna do a size. What's size do?
Changes the size or something.
With comma?
Yeah, changes the size of the window, right? So that's width, comma, height. Okay, so I'm gonna make a bigger window. Back what?
Background.
Ground does. Oh God, spell it right. Does the color of the background, right? I'm gonna make white background because I find that to be aesthetically pleasing. Okay, so what is up with the...
Yeah,
Giant.
just
That's
replace.
30.
Okay, so
300.
let me show you guys a cool trick. Oh? Yeah. So nice. Such a nice try, Rick. So good. But no. You guys see the width and the height are like different colored? They're integers. Very specifically, they are the windows width and height. So they're this 900 and this 600. You guys see that? Why would I use those instead of using 900 and 600 all through my code?
Put it in the middle.
Yeah, so in this case I'm doing it to put it in the middle, but why would I use those instead of 900 and 600?
Windows
Might want to change the
resizable.
size.
Yeah, if I change the size, right, if I go into the size line and change it, this thing will still be in roughly the middle of the screen. Please note I'm saying roughly, because that ain't the middle of the screen.
Yeah, that's the origin.
Yeah, so there's some kind of a rectangle mode thing going on here. It's text mode. You could fiddle with it if you want. I'm going to just let that hang for now because I got it printing in the middle, which is more or less what I wanted. Okay, so I was going to check about printing pi out, right? So let me print pi in the... Which one's this doing?
That's in the compiler.
Yeah, so this is going to print the mal variable out in the compiler. Okay, so now I can see how many decimal places it holds.
That's kind of pathetic.
More than I remember.
Not that many.
More than I remember.
Right, so it rounds pretty heavy.
I was asking that because I know that there's PEMDAS in your. It can solve for expressions.
Yeah, you can certainly do a little math in here, but it rounds pretty heavily.
Right.
So if you want more precision in your math, then instead of floats, you want doubles. So if we make a double, maybe we'll get a few more decimal places.
Well, that's much better.
Cool, look, we get probably double the decimal places, give or take. Cool with this? Okay. All right. Let's see. If I put that into the text command, what's that going to do?
Put it on the window.
Yeah, it's probably going to put it in the window. Is it going to do a good job?
No.
No.
It does have issues.
Not
It-
applicable for the arguments.
Yeah, it doesn't like that. Maybe if I put a float. Floyd? Apparently it'll...
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying,
That's
right?
art.
Let's see. So if I move it over to the left side of the screen,
Rounded heavily.
That's useless.
y'all see it rounded,
Heavily.
Chopped off an
right? So there's some stuff with the text command. It's a little more complicated than just printing out whatever you give it, right? So we could make it do a better job. I'm not going to work with that right now because all I want to do is play with variables right now. You guys all good with that? Okay, let's try printing out a string. So if I put that in the print, so I have a string called word, right? That says blah blah, which is a great IPA, by the way. If I push go on this, where's that going to appear?
The compiler.
Yeah, it's going to appear in the compiler at the bottom there. Boom. Please note, it does not have the quotations. Why doesn't it have the quotations? Yeah, the quotations were just about telling you what it was to begin with, right? Let's see. If I tell it to print that in the text box, what do I expect it to do? And this size is asinine, so I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Probably print out. Yeah, so you can use this to print out messages, right? So this is especially useful for printing out, like, instructions. Like, click on a point. Right, if I wanted to add that to a program, it's pretty easy with this text display thing. Those are nice to have. Because sometimes when you guys send me more complicated programs that have little bits of interactivity, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, if you bond the X key on the keyboard to do something, right, and the W key to do something else, it would be nice if you told me what those were at some point, right, on the screen. Because otherwise somebody plays your little program and it's just a blank screen and they start punching stuff, and then all of a sudden when they hit X, something happens, right? Okay. Let's see. Other things? Oh, let's try to print out our character letter. Oh gosh. Spelling's hard.
That's why you're a math teacher.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's try printing the letter first, and then we'll do that. So if I print just a letter, I get A in the command line. Is that a surprise? No. Cool. All right, if I put that in here, let's try Chris's thing. If I just put word plus letter, oh gosh. Why isn't it whining about that? Maybe it's two different text boxes? They might be on top of each other. Blah, blah, ah. Blah, blah, blah. No. Blah, blah.
Can you put a space? How do you put a space in there?
How do you do a space in there?
So like double quotes and then.
It's gonna trip all y'all out. Okay, what the heck is adding doing here?
Adding another character.
Yeah, it's just putting strings together. Right, so if you want to add strings together, you just use the add character, and it's fine. Please note, I'm not actually adding strings here together. What am I actually adding? I'm adding a string and a character and another character. So what's the output type? Like, that whole mess of stuff, right? This whole thing. What is that?
A string.
That is itself a string. Right? A string plus a character makes a string. If you have two characters and you add them together, what does that become? That becomes a string. You guys see that? So let me try a couple more of those. If I have Steve and Mal, right? Those are 7 and pi. What if I did Steve plus Mal? Would you let me make pi a little easier. I'm going to put 3.14 in here just to make life a little bit more recognizable. So what do you expect? Do you expect to get 3.147? Yeah, you really expect to get 10.14, right? Okay. So let me put that into both spots and see if everything agrees. 10.14, 10.140. What the hell? Yeah, so it should be noted that the text command has a specified precision for floats, and it uses it unless you tell it to do otherwise. Okay, so the text command is a little bit imperfect with floats. It's not the way I would have written it, but it's the way that someone wrote it, so whatever. It is the way it is. Cool? Yeah, and I think it's 3 decimal places, not 5 sig figs. Yeah. It's 3 decimal places, not a thing about sig figs. Please note, when I did Steve and Mal, what variable type was that?
Float.
Yeah, that was a float, right? It was a decimal plus an integer, and the processing's kind of back end automatically made that into a float. Let me try something a little weird. Let me make another integer called Bill. Bill. I'm going to set Bill equal to 0. And then someplace in my code here, I'm going to take and make Bill equal to Steve plus Mal. You guys see that? Type mismatch. Float does not match with int. What the heck is that about? Just go for it, dude.
Okay, so you set Steve equal to 7. And then you set Mal equal to 3.14.
Yep.
And then you set Bill equals to 0. And then you said that Bill equals Steve plus Mal. And that's not right.
Close. So don't get attached to the math here. So this line is not asking, is 0 equal to 10.14? You see that? This is trying to overwrite what's in Bill with Steve plus Mal. So this really should make Bill equal to 10.4. If I change Bill from an int to a float and run this, I get no problems. It does tell me that Bill is not used. Where'd that go? It was complaining about it for a second, and then it went away. Okay, so note, right, down here it prints that 10.14 like I expect it to do, right? You guys see that? Even though Bill was 0 to begin with, and then later Bill was 10.4. Please be aware that this is not just processing. Basically, every computer language that I'm aware of will let you overwrite a variable and will more than happily forget whatever the heck was in there before. Right, so if you're having problems, sometimes it's because you accidentally overwrote a variable somewhere. And then what you can do to figure out what's up with Bill in a few different spots is you can copy and paste this print Bill out in a few different places. So if I run this, I expect to see from this print line, 0, because Bill is 0 at that point. And from this print line, 10.14 because Bill is set to 10.14 there. And then down here later, I expect to see still 10.14 because I haven't changed what Bill is at that point. You see this? So down here, I got, ooh, that's kind of annoying.
Nice.
Yeah, so why are there 3 decimal points?
The original 0.0.
Yeah, because they're kind of concatenated, right? So it's 0.0, and then it's 10.14, and then it's 10.14, and that's kind of wildly annoying, right? You guys want another command to do this better?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to upgrade your print command to print line.
Just entered the 90s.
We just entered the 90s. Yes. Welcome to 1991. Actually, I'm sure this command was invented in the 70s. So what this is going to do is it's going to print Bill out, and then it's going to carriage return onto the next line. So note, this little thing is kind of short sometimes. So if you don't see all the output you're expecting, maybe scroll up or make it a little bigger. You guys cool with this? Okay. Let me try a little, should we do a little Boolean magic here quick? Maybe I should stop this, it's been 20.